In this lecture, we're going to start building our tool to create replies with ChatGPT in Zapier. The primary tool that will connect everything for us is Zapier. It's like the glue of the web. Now, I assume you already have a Zapier account set up and you are logged in. But if you don't, please go ahead and create an account and log in before continuing. If you're looking for the correct link to Zapier, you can find it in the Project Resources lecture for this section. Now, just a heads up, if you want to activate this tool in Zapier after creating it, you will need a premium account or a free trial of a premium account. It's not possible to publish the tool that we're going to create with a free plan. However, don't worry. If you're just testing and building like we're doing, you won't have a problem building the project. We can build the automation and see how it works without any issues on the free plan. Now, as you may know, Zapier lets you connect any two applications on the free plan. That's what we'll be doing in this lecture. But in the following lecture, we'll connect free applications. However, because we're not publishing the tool live, it'll be fine. We'll still be able to see the tool working in real time. I just wanted to clarify any confusion you might have before we start working on building the project. So to recap, it's free to build and see the project working, but if you want to publish it live, you'll need a paid Zapier account or a free trial of a paid account. Now, with the administrative stuff out of the way, let's assume you are logged into Zapier. And from here, you'll be able to see all of the zaps that you can connect and so on. Now, to begin creating the first part of our zap, what we'll want to do is click Create Zap in the top left-hand corner. Now, just a reminder, the first part of the tool that we're connecting is Twitter and Google Sheets. Now, what you want to do here is go ahead and search for the Twitter application, and once you've found it, you'll want to select it. Now, the first thing that we'll want to do here is select an event. An event is basically a trigger. So this zap will activate when a specific event occurs. In our case, we'll select user tweet, which I can see if we just scroll down. So we can see here that it will trigger when a specific user tweets. We're choosing this because we want our zap to trigger whenever a specific user posts a tweet. We'll define that Twitter user in just a moment. But for now, once you've selected the event as user tweet, click Continue. Now, my Twitter account is already connected, as we can see. But if you haven't connected a Twitter account, this is where you'll need to do it. Connecting your Twitter account to Zapier is a simple one-click process. So go ahead and connect your account before continuing, and once it is connected, you can click Continue again. Now we get to define the specific Twitter user that we want to track. So whenever the person we define here tweets, our automation will begin. For our project, what I'm going to do is enter the Twitter handle of Bill Gates. So his Twitter handle is simply his name, so Bill Gates, and I'll do it all in lowercase. Now, of course, you can change this to another user if you want, if you have a particular interest in tracking another user who's tweeting quite often. But for this project, I've simply select Bill Gates. So once you've entered an actual Twitter username, click Continue again. Zapier will now show you a button to test that everything works. So let's click that Test Trigger button and see what happens. So if everything works as intended, what you'll see is that a tweet gets returned, which we can see here. And it will also have other related information, such as URLs, date, and so on. And you can see even more related information to that user and the tweet if you scroll down. By the way, you can also select other tweets from the same user in the drop-down. So if we go to tweet B, you will also see there a different tweet, but from the same user. Now, once everything is working and you're happy with the result, just go ahead and click Continue. Now it's time to connect the second part of this specific zap. Remember, this is a two-step zap, and we're connecting Twitter to Google Sheets. Continuing from where we left off, what we'll want to do is select the following application. So once Zapier has been triggered and Twitter has done its part, we need to define what happens next. And this is where Google Sheets comes into play. So let's search for Google Sheets, and once you've found it, select it, and then open the event drop-down. So as before, this is the first thing that we'll be asked to define. And for our project, what we'll want to do is select Create Spreadsheet Row, which we can see creates a new row in a specific spreadsheet. Now, we choose this because we want the data from Twitter to be inserted into our Google Sheet. So once you've selected that event, go ahead and click Continue. Now, at this point, you'll need to connect your Google Sheets account to Zapier. It's similar to how you connected Twitter to Zapier just a moment ago. It's a one-click process, super easy. Now, after you've connected your Google Sheets account, what you'll want to do then is click Continue. And it's here where we'll now be able to configure the settings for this specific part of the Zap, which means we'll get to define how it reacts to the data from Twitter. So the first thing that we'll need to do is select our drive under Drive. So it'll be my Google Drive, and it should be similar for you too. Then what we must do is choose the specific spreadsheet that we're working in. And the spreadsheet we created earlier is titled Generate Replies. So we'll want to search for that, and once we found it, select it. And now, since our Google Sheet has two worksheets inside, we also need to select which worksheet we want to work with. So for now, what we'll want to do is select the Tweets worksheet. And then what will happen is the fields in Zapier will expand to reflect the column headers in the worksheet. Now, just like in our sheet, you'll see we have a Tweets column and a Links column. So that now reflects in Zapier, allowing us to map the data from Twitter to our Google Sheet. So first, let's click into the tweet box. You'll see a range of options appear. As I mentioned before, we want the text from the tweet in this column, so we can select the text data, which holds the tweet text. Once you've entered that, you can then click off the drop-down menu. Next up, I want to click into the link box. And once again, a range of options will show up here. In this case, we want to select the direct link to the tweet, which we can see here under URL. So once you've found it, click it, and then you can click off. And we have now inserted the variables that we want from the Twitter application. So in the tweet column, we want the text of a specific tweet. And then in the link column, we want the URL to the specific tweet that we're referencing. Now, once you've done that, you can go ahead and click Continue. At this point, you can see what the data will look like in their respective columns. So we can see in column A, we will have the tweet text, and we can see in column B, we will have the direct link to that tweet. Now, this is great, but what I want to do is actually test our automation to see if it works. So to do that, we'll want to click Test Action, and that'll run the automation once for testing purposes. And within moments, it should run successfully if there are no errors. And once it has done that, you'll then want to head over to the Google Sheet that we created earlier. And if you set everything up correctly, you'll see that in the first column, we have the text to a tweet, and in the second column, we have the direct link to that tweet, which is exactly what we wanted. So awesome job so far. If everything looks the way it does on my end, it's all working as intended. By the way, I always recommend testing automations before running them, just like we've done here. Now let's switch back to Zapier, and then I can close the settings for the zaps that we've created, so it just minimizes them. Now, while we're here, what I'm going to do is rename this zap to something more descriptive. So clicking in the top left, what I'm going to do is rename it to 1.twitter, then do a little rocket symbol and enter Google Sheets. Of course, you can rename it to whatever you prefer. Now, we're not going to publish this since it's a sample project, but remember, you can publish two-step zaps under the free plan with Zapier. For now, we've run the test and everything works as intended. So let's return to our Zapier dashboard. And from there, once you've returned to the dashboard, you'll begin to see the first part of the larger automation that we're creating here. And that's everything for this lecture. I hope you enjoyed following along. In the next lecture, we'll pick up right here and create another zap. That zap will also contribute to this larger project that we're building for generating replies. So join me in the next lecture as we continue building our project together.